In this new streaming era where we can play literally any song at any time and any place that we want, assuming that we have good internet, do we appreciate music less? My name is El Marquis, musician, rapper, record producer, unashamed Christ follower, and we're going to discuss that today.
El Marquis Productions.
So when I first started showing interest in music, I got an iPod Nano for Christmas. I'm not even sure if people remember what that is now. And at that time, I purchased all of my music. I did not believe in bootlegging. I believed in paying the artists what they deserve for their music. So at that time, I just purchased all my songs off of iTunes. And this was around like 2009, 2010. So I wasn't making any money at the time. I was still a little kid. And I just got iTunes gift cards on different occasions like Christmas or my birthday or holidays. And that meant that I had $10 to buy whatever songs that I wanted. So whenever I got those iTunes gift cards, I knew that whichever songs that I was going to buy, those were the songs that I was stuck with, that I had to make sure that I really loved and enjoyed them and was going to listen to them over and over and over again. So at the time that I got my first iPod, I had maybe like 10, 20 songs on my iPod. And as time went on, that number continued growing. Eventually, I discovered that you could download mixtapes for free off of datpiff.com, and they were just, free albums essentially. Some of them weren't necessarily as high quality as a commercial album, but at the same time, they were legally free, and I still enjoyed them a lot. So I started getting music that way. And iPods at the time didn't have a lot of memory on them. Eventually, I did get an iPod Touch, and that memory was divided between, songs and apps. So I had a very limited amount of space of how many songs I could actually have on my iPod at one time. So that really made sure that I only had songs on there that I would be comfortable with listening to over and over and over and over again. And I made sure that I purchased and downloaded the songs that I knew I was going to love. And I didn't mind rotating between only a couple hundred songs, maybe even less than that, for whatever I had at the time. I also like listen to music while I played Xbox. And the way that I did it, for some reason, the only songs that worked were the songs that I downloaded off of DatPiff. So when I gamed, I had a limited amount of music that I could listen to if I felt like listening to music, and I had no problem with it at all. Like I would listen to the same mixtapes top down over and over and over again, no problem at all. Throughout this time, I actually discovered a lot of music that I like through YouTube and Pandora, but I didn't have a smartphone at the time, so I couldn't listen to songs on demand unless they were actually on my iPod. So at that time, I was streaming music. I just couldn't take all those songs with me on the go. Eventually, I did get a smartphone, and then also I just had an SD card where I put all the music that was previously on my iPod, just moved it over to my phone. So now fast forward to 2014. In 2014, I discovered Spotify, and that changed the way I listened to music from there on. Because the one thing I didn't like about listening to music on YouTube is that the audio quality was kind of hit or miss. Like some songs sounded amazing, some songs sounded like potatoes. And Spotify, like all the songs, they actually sounded good. So I had the desktop app for Spotify, and that's how I listened to music from there on. Using Spotify actually encouraged me to listen to albums top down, because it was hard to find albums top down on YouTube, for example. At that time, I didn't have a job. Like I was a little kid, I was a teenager. I didn't have the money to be able to actually afford albums like whenever they came out. I could only listen to whatever was actually allowed on YouTube. So when I got Spotify, I was able to listen to albums top down. I could take the songs with me on my phone, and I wouldn't be limited to the songs that I had on my SD card. I could listen to pretty much any song that I wanted, well, on shuffle, because I didn't purchase premium at the time either. And since it was free, that allowed me to add however many songs I wanted to my playlist. So my playlist started out at maybe like 20 songs, and as time went on, it went up to a couple hundred. And then I kept listening to new music, discovering new music, constantly finding new artists to listen to, and then those numbers grew to several thousand, to now I have multiple playlists that have several thousands of songs in them. And now in this current day, I think about 9 months ago at the time of this recording, I actually finally purchased Spotify Premium, because at that time I had started driving, and I wanted to be able to listen to albums top down in the car, and also to take advantage of Spotify Premium's increased audio quality. So now I very regularly listen to new albums top down. Whenever something comes out, when I'm just driving to college, I can instantly just stream someone's album, and that is a great way to keep up to date on new music. But since the last few months that I've actually purchased Spotify Premium, I've now discovered some bad habits that I've accumulated over the last few years. When I first started listening to music, I would listen to albums and mixtapes top down multiple times, and now the music is just so accessible and essentially free. And since I have the ability to continue finding new music all the time, I found that now I listen to albums maybe once, multiple times if it's one of my favorite artists, but I'll listen to it once, I'll throw it in my playlist, and since some of my playlists have 2,000 to 5,000 songs, is my biggest playlist right now, it may get thrown in there and then I might never hear it again. That's a huge possibility. And now I know people my age do something similar where they'll listen to a song or an album, they'll throw it in a playlist, and then they might not listen to the whole album top down on ever again. It's just kind of stuck in that playlist, and then maybe you might revisit a couple of the songs. Maybe they'll randomly pop up on shuffle one day. And now this raises the question to me to wondering if that means that we don't appreciate the music as much as we did before. Because remember when I said before, I had maybe 20 to 50 songs to 100 songs I could listen to at one time, and I had to make sure that they were the songs that I was in love with and I would not mind listening to over and over and over again. Now you can just throw in thousands of songs onto a playlist, and it doesn't affect the storage on your phone, so you can literally put in however many songs you want. And I found that it doesn't always prompt you to go back and listen to and appreciate albums specifically when they come out. And since now artists realize the trend is going on, artists are just constantly dropping new music as well, and new music is coming out every single day. And now it seems like some people, or even, I guess you could even say myself, don't necessarily take the time to just listen to songs or albums over and over and over again and digest every single detail. A lot of people now, they'll hear an album, then like a week later, they'll be asking the artist, hey, when are you gonna drop your next album or single or whatever? And that's crazy because they put in a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of money into making that project, and then it just gets thrown in the playlist, and then 2 weeks later, it's forgotten about. People are moving on to the next big thing or big artist or whatever, and that's kind of sad. So now that I found out that I had that habit of just kind of listening to music and throwing in a playlist, maybe revisiting it every now and then, now I'm making a conscious effort to actually listen to albums more than once, especially actually if it's someone who I normally don't listen to. And since I'm also an artist and producer, like I actually want to sit down and actually like study a lot of albums too, and I have done that before. I didn't completely stop studying albums at all, because like I said, I still listen to my favorite artists multiple times, but listening to a whole bunch of albums and not revisiting any of them, like that's not a good habit to me. Unless you just really need to stay up to date on what's going on, which since I am an artist and producer, that is important for me to stay up to date on music in general. But now I want to, slow it down a little bit, revisit albums multiple times and try to find every single detail in all of them, and just slow down and just appreciate the music. And that's pretty much what I wanted to talk about this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications so you know whenever I upload new videos. And let's have a conversation in the comment section below. Let me know about your listening habits, and also, do you think that streaming caused us to appreciate music less? Do you think that if you lived in the era where you had to buy CDs or records, that you would listen to albums over and over again on repeat? Do you think that you'd appreciate them more? Do you think that even though you can play any song in the world that you want right now, it doesn't affect how you appreciate music and you have the same listening habits as before? Let's talk about it in the comment section below. My name is El Marquis, El Marquis Productions. God bless.